Well, so I finally saw Moana 2, and while I fully acknowledge it may not be as shiny as the first one was, as it is still a sequel I consider to be seaworthy, and as as per usual, well, I think a lot of critiques online have gotten a bit hyperbolic about how it's perceived or real, you know, comparisons to the last movie. And I will say this: it had more reason to exist than and also to be a musical than other ones I saw this year. Here and suffice to say, I'm not going to be sharing the more extreme sentiments about how close detractors mean. I also imagine that the truth of this whole situation of it being originally a D plus film is somewhere in between. I wouldn't even be against like an event for that service. But and one of the many parallels the franchise has with Frozen, and it may very well start out that way before it got retooled into a theatrical feature with the budget to match. I am not at liberty to confirm or deny any potential AI usage or any reports of animator crunch, which it has already proven to be a hot button issue in video games, so it's a bit disappointing to see it spread to animation as well as VFX. I will say this in good faith, however. Between this movie and Wicked's success, rumors of the movie musical's death have been greatly exaggerated. So, let's begin. The film picks up an indeterminate amount of time from where the last one left off. I mean, I can tell that the characters have gotten older, and Moana herself is as tenacious as ever as their new chief and wayfinder, and one day as she's is on her quarry, she sees an artifact of an ancient lost island which could further connect their people together. So at least an idea that parallels original movies was built upon it. So, and I fully acknowledge while not every single sequel is like Godfather Part 2, Empire Strikes Back, or The Dark Knight level of quality, I also acknowledge in another little message towards the film's detractors that not everyone is Highlander to the quickening or Speed to Cruise Control level either. I mean, since that is admittedly a challenge whenever one in that sense, I still can maintain that even though I didn't think it was quite the breath of fresh air the first movie was, as I still think I don't regret watching it at the very least, and will be willing to do so again, especially when it comes online. If I can find the Maori language version of the movie, which is actually real and actually dubbed by some of the actors who actually speak Maori as well. Oh, and they do bring a lot of people back from the first film, most prominently Oli Craval in title role, and 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 Dwayne the Rock Johnson as Maui. He Which I also had to wonder how many other deities that he's got a beef with. I mean, it's not entirely surprising given his other movies, as well as back in WWE. He'd be beefing with someone else, but still. And also the fact that he knows how phones work and pop culture works. It's If they have magic, seeing the future not too far away, what is a basic principle as like the genie in Aladdin and or the character in the Shrek verse? I mean that they can see our pop culture coming, for centuries, if not millennia, and it definitely some parts do flow a bit quick, but it does have a rough three-act structure, albeit in a non-linear fashion, where of setup, conflict, and payoff, and any of the whole people getting huffy about situations that they haven't heard from the Super Mario reboot about a year ago. Oh, and let's just say that I'm working on building up my entertainment calendar for next year. Hence why I decided against posting the current attractions here and instead put them on my channel's community tab instead, as including stuff I've gotten tickets for later this month. And I definitely am enjoying playing the new songs. I still have some in my head as well. Granted, they're no shiny or you're welcome, but I definitely would not be against listening to them in the background when I'm working on writing and editing things either. I mean, I've still maintained I've seen far worse ways to kill an hour and 40 minutes, not counting running trailers, ads in my theater's case, cartoons, since when you started your year with Madam Web and are about to who end it with Craven, and as in two of the Sony Spider-Man films that are not Venom, you kind of lose your ability to get too mad about this, personally. Yeah, just trying to get mad about every single little thing that comes your way, it sounds exhausting, and it's not really how I plan to spend in the next few years at all. Y'all wanna get at cardiac over stuff that doesn't really bear her getting it. You're more than welcome to try, but I certainly would not recommend it. And I will say that even given the rather quick promotional window for the movie, I think we only got the first preview right before D23 he came around, which usually they put out promotion a bit longer than that, and also factoring in and how the pandemic and the strikes are still having effects on what's on our screens. And since even though both roughly left up a year ago, something tells me that we might not ever go back to the before time long ago, but that doesn't really have to be a bad thing. And perhaps we can use the experiences there to move into a morning after, a better one even. And who knows? Maybe with the success of this movie, maybe I'll actually get a proper ending to Haley. I'm not saying it would have to be going on as long as Scooby-Doo or SpongeBob, but hey, I can dream, can he? Admittedly, there are parts that do play the greatest hits reel of the first these events, but it does still play on them in new and in new interesting ways and introduce all things on its own. Won't get too spoilery for those who have not seen it, but they've added a whole slew of new creatures, ranging from giant sea monsters and mollusks to even from blobfish and mud skippers. So I thought they were losing the promotion, but nope. Turns out they're mud skippers. So there's that. And with that being the case, I also like how they actually recontextualize the Kakamora, where especially after all the trouble they caused in the last movie, He and if you look closely, one of them is still has similar face paint to Baymax. If they could talk, apart from doing this tribal chest beating, which I rather like, I mean, like the unoriginal Conan salutes, hoots, I could imagine one going Unu as the giant clam envelops everyone. And yeah, I definitely still am taking away that key a bit from Mento. I mean, even with his complicated relationship with Buena Vista, that that I mean, the more things deviate from the intended plan, the more interesting story becomes. Like sometimes when you get to clear the main objective, you end up having to overcome new ones along the way. Okay, so you got the part you needed to poke with the sedative like spear. Now you had to find your way through both channels of the clam's insides. Okay, you found where the island you need to go is to unite everyone. Now you need to reach it in the eye of a raging thunderstorm caused by the deity that Maui got on the bad side of. Yeah. And the humor is still there, even though some people find the device I still rather like Hey Hey the Chicken, who's basically our Olaf off of this film. And definitely Alan Tudyk definitely has comedic range to pull that off still. And I won't say how he comes back, but we get the return of Maui Shark doo 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 Maui Shark doo 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 Maui Shark. Yeah. So I basically, even looking at the slate they unveiled for 2025 and beyond, I am still working on building my entertainment calendar for next year, and they will certainly be a part of it no matter where I end up being. And let's just say I don't anticipate spending the entire year here. I mean, like I did before, I'm definitely going to be needing a change of scenery really soon. You know what I mean? At least that's what I've been taking away from the dreams recurring themes been having. You know what I mean? And whether it ends up being by land, or by sea, or by air, I can definitely anticipate it will not be the last time I address this verse at all, man. And with that in mind, I am certainly not against the idea of a third one, or even just like a mini event for D Plus should the opportunity arise. And I don't know if it'll cross the $1 billion threshold, but it's already outgrossed its senior domestically, and it's definitely also doing solid international business as well. I mean, so they can definitely have like the same duality, stick that in their eye. I mean, and if that fanboy ever tries that trick with me, I would simply respond by sharing a bunch of lists of other animated films, many of which have been highly acclaimed, even award winning and nominated, and having a counteroffer to have him watch those until he gets it, since that duality is the only ones you've ever seen. I mean, expand your horizons, man. I think you'll find that trying to give stuff a fair shake is going to be a lot more gratifying than just dismissing it out of hand, getting huffy because you're not into what they're doing with Snow White or the Arkhamverse, man. Just mean, but bottom line, I mean, while I may not put this on the same pedestal as do the first movie, let alone the likes of Inside Out, its duology, or The Boy and the Heron, which I'm still having intent to fully review, before years are the earliest. I can definitely say, that this movie was a solid experience. Whether or not you choose to see it is fully in your control. My final rating is is a a watery 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, and with that, I'm gonna be talking about some other animated films which are a bit, it's more, or which are even more interesting to, and one of which is connected to one that's coming out, a new one that's coming out this week. Let's wait and see what it is, though. That'll be all for now. So, take care, everyone.